It's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, thank you for making us a part of your Monday. Christian, I know I dumped a bunch of stuff in your lap, but are you really like that angry at me that you're going to start with Christmas music?
Only a handful more shows.
I made the decision last night.
Going for it.
And I knew that you would have something to say, but...
Dude, I am so... I am over after this weekend. I am so over Christmas. Like,
what did you do?
Particularly aggravating. I had the Christmas Saturday extravaganza.
Okay.
No, you didn't need to. You can turn it off.
What?
You were talking about Chuck Berry last week too.
Somehow, well, he was a talented guitar player.
Good song.
It's not what we were talking about.
So Saturday, I did the. I don't know. My wife scheduled the holiday bang bang of all time. Matinee.
What'd you go see?
We went to the Nutcracker.
Yeah, of course.
Bang! Bang!
Classic.
Come on, man. Bang!
And then the same night, come home from the Nutcracker, breeze through the house, drop the kids off with the sitter, downtown to the Eccles Center for 'Twas the Night Before.
Oh, okay. With Cirque du Soleil, right?
Which was super good.
Was that? Okay.
But very holiday theme.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen a Cirque du Soleil show, you can't help but not like it. It's awesome. But very, I mean, music, Christmas music, the whole way. I mean, just jingled my dang backside off on Saturday, and I've had enough.
Okay, you're done with the holidays
I've had
now.
enough. At least for Monday. I can't make it into the first segment of Monday without having, I'm staring straight at a dang tree.
Yes, you are. 2.5 weeks. And you know I always have the spirit, so you're stuck with me
Home
too.
Alone 1 is a very good Christmas movie, and I was watching it last night, and that song came on, and I said, you know what? I think I will open the show with the Christmas song every day for the rest of the year.
My family has already watched Home Alone.
We haven't watched it yet.
Happened.
Have to throw it on. Neither here nor there.
The debate I'm having with my kids is who gets more hurt, Harry or Marv.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Marv. Funny.
Easy.
You think the nail through the foot? Getting your head lit on fire is pretty
Head
bad.
lit on
Iron
fire.
dropped from the top story of the house
Yeah, that's
right on his
true.
face.
Yeah, the paint can to the face would just break every bone in your face.
A crowbar to the chest multiple times?
Yeah. Poor, was it Daniel Lloyd? What's his name?
Oh.
Because I'm sure Pesci was like, I'm not doing all of it. I'm not doing all of the worst stuff. So give it to Stern?
What's his
Stern.
name? Yeah.
Daniel Stern.
Lloyd, Salazar's in there. Lloyd, who gets more hurt in Home Alone, Harry or Marv?
Yeah. I think that's the consensus.
How the head burn.
Head burning, though, would be brutal.
And the crowbar to the chest.
Yeah.
That's right. And, well, I guess they both hit ice pretty good.
Head burn might be the most dangerous.
Hand burn?
You don't want an infection in your head.
Kind of a violent movie.
Insanely.
Come to think of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of
it's bizarre.
I guess Marv gets the Christmas ornaments under his bare feet, too. That's pretty rough.
Yeah.
So, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Where's the Tylenol? How does the rest of that? Yeah. How does the rest of that go?
Yeah.
And then I got to work on Sunday. I felt like it was a break from the Christmas madness. All right. Anyway, how was your weekend, Ben? You have a good time?
Also busy, but great. Yeah, no, good weekend. Watched some football. Listened to a lot of angry people on social media. Then went to the Jazz game last night.
Christian had to do a show with RSV.
I know. Christian's dying over there. You okay?
It was so bad on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's.
I apologize for anybody that listened.
How his weekend went.
It's the job, unfortunately.
Been there.
We've all been there.
So all right. Well, should we dive into the playoff, Ben, or do you want to talk about the game itself? I feel like I suppose the snub is the big story this morning.
I maybe because I don't know why it would be, because nobody left the game Saturday morning thinking, man, BYU really deserves to be in the playoff. I mean, that's not how they played. They were awful. You said the one thing I guess they couldn't really afford to do, but they should go out and try and do it anyways, is the Jake Heaps game. You can't have the 5 turnover game. Now, they should just go throw it and try and move the ball that way, but the way it could backfire is if it is the Jake Heaps game, and that's what they got. I mean, that was a horrendous performance by BYU. That was what I think everybody feared could happen, and the game was over at halftime, and we already knew BYU wasn't going to be considered for the playoff at that point.
The game was not over at halftime. It was 13-7.
But BYU hadn't moved the ball since the opening drive, and it was clear that Texas Tech had total control.
It was 13-7 until midway through the third quarter, and he did throw the one interception. But when did the spin out of control happen? I mean, it was a desperation thing because they did not do what I prescribed. They came out so conservative. Why did they not move the ball more in the first half? It was so conservative. Even the 7-minute drive or whatever it was that actually scored, I honestly think that was like a Rusty Westbrook making his first 3.
Yeah.
The conservative game plan paid off on the first drive, and they're like, oh, okay. Even their throws on second down, which I'm just begging for a throw on freaking second down, is like a screen that happens to work once. And that drive is full of all this cute stuff that actually happens to work. And it's nothing. It's not throw it down. It took 7 dang minutes. It was not a go put it on them type of game plan. And then it works at the beginning. And then they just go into their shell for the next quarter. And then all of a sudden one mistake spins the game out of control. It was absolutely a game plan issue. And I don't mean to take necessarily the players all off the hook, but like I had Christian pull this drop. It totally reminded me of the John L. Smith. Do you remember? Now, John L. Smith was a coach at Utah State in the 90s, and he left to take a bigger job at Michigan State and actually did a fairly decent job. Yeah. But he was volatile would be a kind way to put it. He actually ended up back at Weber State toward the tail end of his career and hosed them over to take the interim job in Arkansas.
Yes, he did.
After Bobby Petrino got caught having an affair with his personal assistant. So all that comes together nice. I always thought. Anyway.
Did you have sound you wanted to play or no?
Yeah. He's walking off the field. It's a halftime interview. And really, it culminates with this saying.
The coaches are screwing it up.
I thought BYU's coaches screwed it up. I thought they came out with the wrong game plan. I thought it ended up being the exact replica of the first game. And the fact that they had success on the first drive was fool's gold, because they're running on first and second down. They're running on third down, for crying out loud, in the first half. And it was not confidence in the quarterback, and it was not let him go out and make some plays. It was not welcome back Chase. We're going to let you go beat your guy and beat one-on-one coverage. It was not any of that. It was the same as the first game. And then eventually one mistake cost them the game. And I'm oversimplifying that on purpose, because that one mistake, I mean, the game was at such a razor's edge that midway through the third quarter, one mistake, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there's the crumble, and everybody's waiting for it to happen. And then you back the freshman into a corner, which is the last thing you want to do. And then it's over. And it was over because the true freshman came out. Because you backed him into a corner in a close game that was on a razor's edge, and the defense was holding on for dear life, and then one mistake happens, and the game just goes out of control. I thought the game plan was totally wrong from the start, and these guys know more about football than me. I'm just hot take radio guy who's consuming this thing. But listen, it's like they listened to you last week saying that Texas Tech is the dang Houston Texans, that it's an NFL team, and heaven help you, you're lucky to be on the same field. They game plan scared.
I totally disagree. I thought BYU came out, and actually the desperation I saw was on the opening drive, which is why on their first drive they spent 2 timeouts and ran 2 trick plays. There's nothing conservative about that At all.
It's the way that they did it. The trick play is exactly what I'm talking about. Throw the ball downfield. Don't do some trick garbage. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
They don't trust Bear Bachmeier to be able to do that because he didn't do it. And when he did do it in the second half, it was Russell Westbrook hucking threes because he was awful in the second half.
Yeah, because Texas Tech pinned their ears back and they knew exactly what was coming because the game was spiraling.
But they would have done that in the first half, too. I mean, they would have gladly done that on the opening drive. Absolutely. It's the best defense in college football this year. That defensive line's insane.
That was not.
And they're going to do it to whoever they play next as well. This is a Texas Tech issue because they're truly awesome defensively. They are awesome defensively.
It was not a game plan that was going to give BYU a chance to win. It was not.
But I also believe, and this is what we talked about, that over the last 3 weeks, BYU's best player has been LJ Martin, and they wanted to find a way to get him involved in the game, and they know you can't run between the tackles against Texas Tech. So, yeah, they put him in the screen game, which I thought was really smart. They found ways to get him involved in in the game, in space, and he was really effective that first drive. But
first drive.
Yeah, I felt terrible watching that first drive because it did feel so desperate to me that I thought, BYU is pulling out all of the stops for their first drive, which is obviously scripted. You can script your first drive. And that's what they did. And it resulted in 7, but it did take everything they had. And it was a real red flag to me that they needed to do all that to score. But it makes sense why. Because they didn't score the rest of the game. And they didn't feel like they could score against Texas Tech at all. And they didn't. They've had 2 drives that resulted in points against Texas Tech all season. One of them was in the fourth quarter of a game that they were down, 26-0 at that point. And then this one was, we're going to throw absolutely everything we have at it. And then after that, they couldn't move the ball. I mean, I think the offensive coordinator, A-Rod, and the offensive side and the staff in general recognized they weren't going to be able to move the ball against this team, and they didn't.
Yeah, gave up. They gave up. Good for them. They didn't even give it a chance to win. I'm taught all the cute stuff is exactly what I'm talking about. They tried everything except for be aggressive and throw it downfield. Remember that you're BYU. I don't care about the trick plays. That was whatever. The cute stuff wasn't going to win them the game. What are they going to do? Do that the whole game? They score on one drive and then they think the game's over?
But they recognize they weren't going to be able to move the ball.
Look at the subsequent. So give up, so stop, so don't let them do it? I mean, you don't let them throw it until the game is basically over? I mean, it made no sense. And then look at the next drive. So they had to get all sorts of cute, and then all they do is run. I mean,
they threw it on second down their second drive as well.
With a screen.
But yeah, they're trying to get their guys involved. They are trying to get their guys involved in space.
You hear Justice Palmer say it on the broadcast. That's just an extension of the run game, because it is. Kyle, let Parker Kingston beat his guy and throw it to him. I don't understand. Let the bear eat. It doesn't make any sense. And that was not what they did on the first drive.
Well, it makes sense if you don't think they can do it. And they clearly don't think they can do it.
They weren't going to win otherwise. You said it correctly last week that they had nothing to lose. They had nothing to lose. So why game plan like you do? We all knew the committee was going to screw them, and they did screw them. And BYU got screwed worse than Notre Dame did, even though Notre Dame's taken home all of the headlines. They had a better resume, and it's unfair that championship game was counted against BYU. So
BYU wasn't in the first place. BYU wasn't in going into the game.
And that's unfair, and it's ridiculous. And their resume was better going into that game than Notre Dame and Miami and all these other teams that are being considered. And then that game was held against them, which is unfair. But we can talk about that or debate that later on in the show. The game itself for BYU, I thought the mistake was they didn't play like a team that had nothing to lose. They didn't. They did in a weird, tricky, ticklish way that was never going to work. So if that was the game plan going in.
It did work, right? The first drive did work. It was the only thing that worked.
You have to play 4 quarters. I told you that they had to get to 30 points to win that game. And honestly, if the offense got them to 30, I doubt Texas Tech gets to 34. Because things are going, the momentum is different, and the desperation doesn't set in. They never gave themselves a chance. Utah jumped on Alabama and put the gas pedal down. That's what they had to do to beat a superior opponent, not play with this weird 2 timeout. You're right, ticklish, that's never going to work. So if that's the game plan, what are you doing? And running LJ Martin was not going to work. And, we got to get the ball in the offensive MVP's hands. Well, you know what? You're playing right into Texas Tech's hands. You're going into the belly of the beast. Pickett's charge is what I brought up. That's what they did. That was the game plan. Why? That's wrong. BYU didn't give themselves a chance in that game. I don't think. And they put their freshman in a bad position. If he's going to throw it away, let him throw it away in the second quarter. Don't put him on razor's edge, and then all of a sudden the game spins out of control on him. That stinks.
BYU's best offensive player was L.J. Martin, 19 carries, 76 yards, and was effective in the passing game, 7 catches for 31 yards. He had the only touchdown. And I think they did try to establish their identity, and that is what teams do. Teams don't go away from their identity.
Yeah, and that's why Bronco lost to TCU by 30 back in the day, and he comes out after the game and he said, well, we were going to stick to our game plan and do our thing. Well, you took a huge L, and that was a big mistake. Honestly, that's my opinion. I talked about it all week. I'm not going to come off it and let him off the hook by saying, like, oh, well, that was a cute first drive. There's 4 quarters you got to play. And I get it. Maybe does the Bear suck in practice? Is this what we're coming down to? The Bear sucks in practice, so they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna throw it downfield."
I don't think they trust him to throw the ball against really good defenses.
That's my point. Like, is that the thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, right? So they recognize behind the scenes that when he's facing these types of pressures or these types of defenses, he can't complete these throws.
Cam Rising sucked behind the scenes, too, and then he went out and beat USC. I mean, because they gave him a chance to. Because they didn't have any other choice. Utah was like, okay, we got to sling it on Stinkin's defense because they're soft as pudding, and that's the way we got to win this game. So all of a sudden, Kyle Whittingham turns into Mike Leach. They didn't want to start Cam Rising for 2 years, and then he went out and did it when he was given the opportunity. I don't think the Bear was given the opportunity. I don't think that game plan was never going to beat Texas Tech. It wasn't.
I don't know if BYU had the talent to beat Texas Tech, is the truth. I don't think this is a game plan issue.
We'll never know. I think it was a huge game plan issue.
I mean, we saw them twice, and they didn't really compete
either. They played the same game twice, though. They didn't adjust at all. That is my point.
And I think this is where I trust coaches, and A-Rod has done a fabulous job this year, especially with Bear Bachmeier, that he knows what he's looking at, he knows what he's going up against in these.
Why did Georgia smash Alabama? Because they learned from the stupid loss, and then they went out with a different game plan and beat another playoff team. I mean, they did the same thing, the same game plan. It's the definition of madness.
I don't agree with that. They didn't do the same thing. They had the same result, but I don't think they did the same thing. And again, they went out with this opening drive, which was ultra aggressive. They tried to get up on Texas Tech early and then see if they could count on their defense, which is the best part of their team. And they couldn't. The defense couldn't do it either. And then when they did need to throw the ball, because you're right, they got to that point in the second half, they couldn't. And Bear Bachmeier had, 3 fumbles? He lost one of them. He had 2 interceptions. There's a problem there. That was a talent problem against Texas
Tech. Like the fumble was on this cute guard pull, fake handoff garbage that.
But that's also how Kalani wins. Kalani has won games that way throughout his career at BYU.
He was never going to win this one like this.
You've talked about this with Cam Rising before, is you've got to let Cam Rising go out and be Cam Rising. You can't all of a sudden make him conservative. The way BYU has gotten to where they are right now is by being aggressive, by calling trick plays, by having great special teams and trick plays on special teams. All this cute stuff that you're dismissing is why BYU is where it is right now. I mean, that's what Kalani has done very well. You can't throw that out now and say you got to completely change your game plan. I think that's completely wrong.
It wasn't going to win.
Yeah, it didn't. And I don't know if BYU had a chance to win this game anyways, and I also said that all last week. I just didn't think BYU was going to be able to compete with Texas Tech. I didn't really see the game plan for them to get out there and get the victory, and one of the reasons is because what we did see. When they did try and go out there and throw the ball, they couldn't against Texas Tech because, and it does have to do with the fact that Bear Bachmeier was hurt and obviously was very immobile by the time they were going into the locker room at halftime, but yeah, I just don't think they have that type of offense. They're not designed to play against a team this good. And Texas Tech is legitimately very good. They have earned this bye week in the first round of the playoff because they are one of the 4 best teams in the country. They might be in the national championship game. That wouldn't shock anybody. It shouldn't if you watched how they played this year.
I'm trying to look. I think Bears long from a pass completion standpoint in the first half was... He had, of course, that completion to Chase at the very beginning, which was 18 yards. Mm-hmm. After that, Ben, they hit a 22-yarder on the first drive to Parker Kingston. But that was a play to Parker, and then he made it, right?
Yeah, it was cutting across the middle. It was actually a great throw from Bear.
After that, 8-yard pass was as long in the first half.
It was on that first drive that he got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, then don't play him.
Actually, I'm glad you bring that up. That was one of the strong thoughts that we were getting in our post-game show, people leaving comments. A lot of people were wondering why Bear wasn't benched in favor of McKay Hillstead if Bear was hurt.
McKay hasn't played all year. Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. If the ankle is going to lose you a game, then don't play him.
No, they didn't lose because of Bear's ankle.
So, I don't know. I didn't think the game plan was going to win. So, and it didn't. But it was no different than the first time.
I don't know if going out and asking Bear to throw the ball 35 times against this defense would have been a winning.
Do it at the beginning. Jump on them. Don't jump on them.
They were up 7-0. What else can they do? They had a perfect first drive. They went 7 minutes. They scored 7 points. They had to do everything they could to get there, and they couldn't replicate it the rest of the game. 7
minutes is the problem. That's not what we're talking about, and that's not jumping on them. And it's so long. And you said yourself 2 timeouts.
Yeah, it was desperate. They were absolutely desperate. They had to score there.
Go out and sling it.
That's desperate. That's the definition of desperate. Changing your entire game plan to go out and throw the ball 35 times against Texas Tech is the definition of desperate. Well, that's the definition of going away from everything you do and doing well and having your identity.
They needed to go away from what they do, if that's it. They did. They needed to pretend like they didn't have a freshman quarterback. Then they did not do that. That's not how they played.
I think we agree on that. Clearly, they don't believe that they have the ability to play that way and win.
Well, they needed to pretend. To give themselves a chance to win, they needed to pretend because they had it all on the line. All right, we've got top 3 stories of the day coming up next. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Ben, your uncle, 801 Sports on the Snap Talk, snaps in real quick. Says BYU should have just played like 2019 LSU, and they would have beat Tech. Tech is just better than BYU everywhere. They weren't going to win that game and would have lost even worse if they just threw it around like a Mike Leach offense. Totally agree with Ben. You're more than welcome to agree with Ben, which is fine. But that's not what I said. I did not say they would have beaten Tech. I said they didn't give themselves a chance, in my opinion, which I think
it's a fair argument.
I still agree with me. And then he says they weren't going to win that game and would have lost even worse if they just threw it around like a Mike Leach offense. Well, okay. That's how they game planned.
Well,
they game plan like they agree with you. And then I'm not talking about Mike Leach offense. In fact, I'm not talking about that at all. Your LSU comparison was way better. Mike Leach's offense was full of cute little passes and screens and cute little stuff. That's not what I'm talking about, actually. I'm talking about throwing it downfield. I'm talking about more pro style, if anything. I'm talking about let your receivers go downfield and make a play. That's what I'm talking about. So,
and to your point, if you were going to lose anyways, if you knew you were going to lose this way, why play that way?
Why?
Yeah.
That's my entire point. Just wanted to clarify. 801 Sports, Ben's uncle. You have yourself a fine day. All right. Top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Fellas, I hope you like these 3 things. Pop Tarts, Las Vegas, and Idaho Potatoes.
I like 2 of those things.
Which ones?
I've never been wild about Pop Tarts.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just not a breakfast person to begin with, let alone just a sugar blast right to the system.
I like them because my son will make them in the morning for himself, so I don't have to get up
I get that.
And feed him.
Hey.
He feeds himself.
Ollie, knock yourself out, bro.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Thank you. Cinnamon roll, Pop-Tarts. Record-wise, performance-wise this season, Georgia Tech is a cool opponent for BYU. Orlando is always a fan favorite for Cougars fans. You go and hang out at Disney World and catch this game. I do, think Nebraska obviously has a bigger name historically when it comes to college football, and getting it in Vegas does simplify some options for Utah fans. So while I think a 7-5 Nebraska team, certainly nothing to write home about, I think some Utah fans can feel happy about that draw. And I'll be curious about BYU Georgia Tech, even though the entire conversation around this game is that it was supposed to be Notre Dame, and Notre Dame backed out.
All right. Where to start? I'll start with the Aggies. They should be stoked. Awesome. A future conference foe in a drivable location. Utah State hadn't been to a bowl in a while.
Cool game.
Go crazy.
Yeah, very cool game.
I hope that turns into Logan North. Utah should be thrilled. Vegas is a great destination. Ute fans can go do New Year's in Vegas. Which, Christian, have you done New Year's in Vegas?
I have. It's very cool.
It's way cool. It's super fun, and that venue is super cool. I think Nebraska is actually a sneaky, interesting opponent because I think their coach, Matt Rule, is pretty sharp, and he's interesting. I think Nebraska could be on the come.
Yep.
You never know.
Yeah.
And it's an opponent that you never really see. I think those are always the most interesting bowl opponents.
You get credit for beating Nebraska. People care if you beat Nebraska, even if Nebraska stinks.
I actually think that works out pretty dang well for the Utes. Maybe you would have rather had USC, and instead they get, USC and TCU in the Alamo Bowl, which is weird. I mean, but anywho, Utah-Nebraska I think is pretty good. As far as BYU, I think they got the mother of all shafts. I think they got the shaft from the playoff committee. I think they got the shaft as far as bowl destination. It's a million years away. They're playing against an uninteresting opponent from a dang terrible conference. Now,
that's a 4-hour drive from where they play.
Notre Dame
Yeah.
would have been a compelling opponent.
Great opponent, yeah, of course.
It would have been a compelling opponent, but they're so soft and have their feelings hurt so very badly that they couldn't possibly be expected to suit up one more time. I mean, far be it from us to expect a college football team to play in a bowl game, Ben. I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, my Lanta, I wouldn't want you to get off the couch. And I heard an interview with their AD, and the garbage that he was spewing about it. I mean, his feelings are hurt so badly. I think it's so sad for the Cougs. It sucks. I hope they take the team to Disneyland because that's all they're getting out of this.
It is a rotten return, and that's no offense to Georgia Tech, who has had a very good season.
It's much offense to Georgia Tech. They're not in BYU's league. I don't care what kind of run they went on, and now BYU's going to play against an inferior opponent, and if they happen to lose, it's going to be because they don't give a what.
Yeah, they probably – I mean, BYU prepares for games well. I mean,
yeah, you would expect so, but, you know –
Georgia Tech gave Georgia a pretty good run in their last game. It's a rivalry game, and they kept it to a one-score game. So we'll see. I don't think this is a pushover win for BYU, and certainly much closer to home for Georgia Tech. We'll see if their fans show up. We know BYU fans will. But, yeah, compared to what it could have been, which it was never going to be the playoff unless you won the championship game. And that's not to let anybody off the hook other than we've been telling you for, since week 8 that they make it up as they go, and they reinforce that in the final week with all the changes that they made at the last minute and who gets judged for what and who doesn't get judged for what and why one team would jump another for no reason despite the fact that they weren't playing. And again, we can talk about that more in the next hour. But BYU wasn't going to be in. They ended up having an opportunity to have a cool draw. Notre Dame ruined that. And it's going to result in a good season, not a great season, despite the fact that it's one of the better that BYU's had, certainly in the last 25 years. And maybe the best.
As far as destinations go, that's a conference city. You can go to Orlando anytime.
Yeah, you can. Fans go to Orlando somewhat often.
The next time BYU plays UCF in Orlando, you
Agreed.
Get the family together instead of flying to see a truly uninteresting game against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, it's far less than ideal. The best part of the bowl game, unfortunately, is the silly mascot. I mean, it's what it's gotten famous for. The same way the Mayo Bowl had that going for it. It's far from ideal. And that was always going to be the case. And I know the bowl committee is different than the college football playoff committee, but, they tried to set it up with Notre Dame. Notre Dame backed out. What are you going to do? Kansas State's not playing in a bowl game. Iowa State's not playing in a bowl game. This is a taste of the beginning. Not, this is what is to come. This is not, the ending of anything.
Utah has played Georgia Tech twice in bowl games in recent memory. Mm-hmm. And both those games were far more interesting. One had Eric Weddle v. Calvin Johnson. Mm-hmm. and the other was in the Sun Bowl when Utah had scrapped their way in their first year in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
This is just...
it feels like a consolation.
That's terrible.
Yep.
It's terrible. What's next?
Number 2, the Jazz had a very, and I can't emphasize this enough, a very weird game yesterday against Oklahoma City.
Why weird?
The whole stuff with the shot clock and the smoke.
Oh, okay. That stuff was weird.
All this crazy stuff happening.
It was strange. It was weird to be in the arena. Jazz were down 10-1 as soon as the game started. First of all, there was the fact that the Thunder at least considered tanking against the Jazz by sitting every player on their roster.
Every player but 2.
Every player but 2, and those 2 are good enough to beat the Jazz.
Jalen
Williams
important.
and Chet Holmgren, combined for 50 points. And the Jazz countered or also had Larry Markkinen sick, so the Jazz didn't really go into that game with much of a chance to win because they were missing their best player as well. And the Thunder made extraordinarily short work of the Jazz and were up 10-1, and then we're up 43-15, and the game was truly over basically before it started. And then, yes, really from the opening tip, it just didn't get a whole lot of attention. The fog machine behind the Thunder basket was going off intermittently throughout the first half, and then really just had a mind of its own in the second quarter. And it was hilarious because it also coincided with another Thunder run, including an alley-oop. If you missed it, go check it out at our Instagram page at KSL Sports. And once they got that fixed and you thought, okay, things are fine, they go into halftime, they come out, and a minute into the third quarter, the clock shut down, and they try for 10 minutes to get it back and working in a painful delay of a game that was basically over already, only to decide that, we can't fix it. We're going to have to just call out the times via Mark Demon, the PA announcer.
Okay, I can give this take because I know the... not everybody. I know a lot of the arena staff over there and how great they are at their jobs and what they do. But have you ever had that mess up, Ben, where the boss is aware and becomes involved? Like,
yes.
One of my first times producing, I left a mic up during the break, and the president of the Dane company called down to the studio, and it's like,
that's bad.
Did you see our guy Jim Olsen out there on the court during all that?
The clock manager's right next to Ryan Smith.
Yeah, because Jim's the president. And by the way, Jim's background, he's got a lot of different stuff in his background, but one is the arena. He was president of the arena for a long time. And and I've been there before where, oh man, Jim's coming over. Oh no, we got to get this thing working stat. But what a bizarre thing.
It was weird, and the game stunk. The Jazz just played extremely poorly. There's a clip circulating of Will Hardy unhappy with his team's defensive effort. I would tell fans I think that's probably less unique than they think. Yeah, you don't get that on film all the time, but if you watch it, they go to commercial break. But, if you're ever at a game, you can see Will laying into his team pretty regularly, or individuals as they walk off the court. Will has not been terrifically happy this season, especially with the defensive effort.
I don't think he cares about the loss, though. The fact that they lost to the Thunder last night, I don't think that's why his...
Agreed.
I don't know, how do we want to put it?
His wrath?
His blood was up?
Yeah. And then, you know what? I asked him after the game, I said, you only played Isaiah Collier and Bryce Sensabaugh 6 minutes each. What do you need to see? And he said effort and execution. And they didn't play well enough, and they're nice guys, and he likes coaching them, but the only way you can punish guys truly in the NBA is through minutes, and if they're not going to do the things I need them to do, they're not going to get minutes. Which went with Walt Clayton, and Walt was great.
I told him to his face. I love how frank he is in his media stuff, and that was a great quote from yesterday. I think he's allergic to dogging it.
Will?
Mm-hmm.
I think
he's got a dogging it allergy where he just can't watch people dog it out there. He's just not going to do it. And they got blitzed out of the gate. And, standards weren't being met by several players, I would believe. And I think that frustrates. And then you put in somebody like Walt Clayton who's like, sure, I'll take the minutes. Why not?
And played great.
And that sends a message in and of its own.
I think it's also really hard that they've had to dog it the second half of the season, each of the last 3 years, and really all of last year, and then to feel like you've got to pull it back. And if guys start to show those signs again that they're not going out there and giving their best focus or effort, you've got to get on them. You've got to nip that in the bud, and he has tried to do that, and we'll see how much it's possible. Sometimes you have the wrong players.
I found it interesting that Keontae George was asked in the postgame about Isaiah and Bryce getting benched. And he said, I've been benched before, and he gave an interesting answer. But I kind of thought, well, I didn't see you gutting out 35 minutes out there. I mean, I don't know. I kind of thought it was more of a group effort than just singling out a couple of guys, and I found it interesting that he wasn't asked about his own performance.
Yeah.
But that of them. But I'm not downstairs and in the line of fire with the writers. But I'm not so sure that message was just about those two guys specifically.
Agreed.
And so, yeah, I mean, it got to be better. There's no doubt. I mean, Oklahoma City was scoring at a historic pace. They hit the most threes in the first quarter of any other first quarter played in the NBA this year.
11 first quarter threes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So you're just going to get out there and dog it and give them open threes all day. I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't you rather have Will coaching than pulling a BYU and giving up?
Yeah, you want Will coaching. I'm not going to co-sign with what you said about BYU's coaches, but that's fine.
I don't think Will wants to game plan scared of the Thunder. I think he'd really like to go take it to him. That's all. Next.
Number 3. This just in. Utah Mammoth star Logan Cooley is out indefinitely with a lower body injury.
So Logan didn't play in the last game, right? And the game before that, he had come back from this knee injury and what they'd called, a stinger or a Charlie horse. He'd gone knee to knee and was out for the rest of that game, and then played the game after that. And on a fast break, he kind of got tripped and fell into the net and hit the goalpost with his knee again, and kind of had to be helped off the ice. And you kind of didn't know if he was going to come back or what. And now apparently he's out indefinitely. We'll see what that means. I don't know.
Well, it's not good.
Is that a week? Is that a month? Is that surgery? We have no idea.
It's indefinite.
Yeah, it's indefinite. I can't definitely say anything.
Okay, here's a hot take for you. And maybe I can have this hot take because I'm not a gambler. Let's just get rid of it. All of it. No more injury reports. You have to look through your binoculars down onto the bench to see who's playing.
Who's going to play or not?
Not my problem. Let's go the Kyle Whittingham route. Let's just get rid of it altogether. If you're going to say lower leg injury and he might be back this decade, I mean, what's the point?
Hockey does that more than anybody. They love lower body or upper body with zero definition of what happens.
So,
yeah, I'm with you.
You either tell me, give me some sort of expectation when he's going to be back or don't, and I'll pay attention game to game because I'm tired in all sports of talking about, well, little Timmy spent his last $250 to see Kawhi Leonard play. I feel terrible for little Timmy, but it's a new world.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned.
Mammoth shut out by the Flames in that game, by the way. They really missed him.
We will have more coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
1, 2, 3, move it.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Shame on you two. You guys are basketball guys, I know. And I don't like to get upset with you guys because you guys are freaking amazing. But the play right before BYU's first touchdown, they gator rolled the ankle of Bear Bachmeier, and he was not the same person since. He couldn't plant when he threw. He was jump hopping. Were you guys watching the game? Were you watching the game? The game plan completely changed. Coaches failed because they didn't give McKay Hillstead at least a series to see if he can get a spark going. That's where they failed. Bear Bachmeier was a skeleton of himself. So, yes, they went back to the same game plan. Wake up, fellas. I mean, really, wake up. Go watch the game. Play right before the first touchdown of BYU. They roll Bachmeier. They roll him. He was burning it up that whole series. The rest of the game, he looked like grandma because he was hurt. Wake up.
Oh, man, that was great. Who was that? Days C? That's what he signed in on. Hey, we love you, Days C. No problem.
We did acknowledge that he got hurt.
Yeah,
I would never have gone to McKay Hillstead in that game unless there was a broken bone on Bear Bachmeier.
Yeah, and you said that. But I thought the same thing about Devin Dampier in the Ute game. Like, if you can't get it done, then you got to try something else. And I don't know, maybe that something else is so bad that you wouldn't possibly want to go to it. The Witt didn't move off Jake Bentley until he absolutely had to. I don't know. Maybe it was a no-win situation.
I just disagree that Bear was awesome on that first drive. He was fine. He was good.
I didn't think that first drive was about Bear. And
No,
I think
it was not a Bear drive.
I actually think it needed to be. Maybe that boils down my point. Is even the successful drive wasn't a Bear drive. They needed Bear drives.
And you're right. They weren't attacking down the field all that significantly. I think he had one 10-yard scramble in that series.
Even his interceptions weren't really going down the field. I mean, and that linebacker had a heck of a game. I guess you got to tip your
they're awesome.
Tip your hat to him certainly. But I mean, I didn't like it. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't think what they did what they needed to do to win. And you know what? Maybe if they did, they could have lost by 50. I don't know. But I don't think they give themselves a chance. I don't.
And the problem was even on Bear's 10-yard scamper, if I remember, he got absolutely laid out. I mean, that Texas Tech, it was funny. We were talking about, BYU land heavy. Don't be afraid to land heavy if you get to Bear and Morton. Though that was what Texas Tech did. They were out to abuse BYU's team. And Carson Ryan took a huge shot. I think it was on that opening drive as well. It was early in the game. They were out there to hurt BYU. They were out there to beat up BYU, Bear Bachmeier included. So the fact that it did happen is, the issue of, we've been calling Bear a Terminator all year because he just seems to be unkillable. You can only take so many hits. We learned that from Taysom Hill. We've learned that from every quarterback who likes to get out there and run the ball. You get hit, you get beat up, you get rolled up on. When you like to hold on to the ball, you're going to get hurt, whether it's a passing play or not. So I do think, unfortunately, that was a style of play issue also for BYU.
All right, stay tuned. We'll unfortunately dive more into the college football playoff situation. Kyle, you know what? We had a sport I loved once. I really did. I was a real college football fan.
At least there's something to talk about. It's not good.
But today,
the game's not good.
I am not.
I was happy to be a college football fan.
I was happy to be a college football fan. Fast forward 20 years, and today, I am not.
Man, it's felt like 4 to me. It's been quick.
Stay tuned. We'll have more on that coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.